Hello and welcome to another episode of Montana Shares, your opportunity to find out about the nonprofits that make our state great. I'm your host, Bill Crane, and today I have John and Chris from Montana Generational Justice. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to dive into something that's new, but we're going to back up just a second, make sure everyone's on board with what Montana Generational Justice does. Is that you? Okay, John, have at it.
It's a private nonprofit, and our goal is to provide services to anyone at the point of, I'd say, 18 to whatever age at the other end in terms of getting their documents done. And it is important because we've found out over the 12 years that I've been working with documents that people are not as prepared and ready for what they need when they need those documents. And so Montana Generational Justice provides that opportunity. We do that in forms of clinics, on-site clinics for people, and we do that on one-on-one. So people can work around their schedules to get their documents done, and it's worked out really well. The exciting part is that we've started a modest means program. So it's based on, we charge you for the document, we don't charge by the hour, and I think that's important. And so we look at what their income is, and then we have it already, it's like a fixed rate based on their income, and that's what they pay for the document. So there's no surprises. And so if a person needs to redo a document that they did 20 years ago or 10 years ago, we can revise that. If they haven't completed any of the documents, and I'll go through those, then it's an opportunity for them to get the documents done. Because I always believe, and Chris and I both believe, that you need to have clean opportunities here for people. So if something happened to me, then I know that my spouse or someone who serves, for example, let me go through the documents first. So we do a durable power attorney for financial, durable power attorney for healthcare, a basic will, declaration of homestead, and a beneficiary deed. And all those have a fixed rate on that. So I'm going to probably explore what we're doing with the durable power attorney for healthcare, because some of the documents are statutory, and some of them, I think the durable power attorney for healthcare, which has gone through an amazing process to complete that document, and Chris will talk about that. But it's exciting because it's something we can offer the public, and it involves not only the durable power attorney for healthcare, it involves their living will. So those are combined, and it's we have gone through this last year while there's a work group that consisted of attorneys and paralegals and non-attorneys and non-legal staff, and our organization to try to see if this product they were putting out will work. And we had 8 different clinics where we utilized that document, and they wanted to get the results of those 8 clinics where we worked with all ages. And the results came out very, very positive. So based on that, we started the program, the Modest Means program, and it's been an effective program because people generally can't pay. I personally can't pay the high rate to do documents, so I had to utilize myself as others out here who realized that they could afford a document if it was a reasonable price. So people called the 422-3904. We can tell you more about that. The other exciting piece about this is that not only do you learn about these documents, we have an attorney on hand that reviews all the documents. We have a paralegal or legal assistant that complete the documents and then reviewed by an attorney. And you can ask the questions that maybe, I don't think there's any question out here that is people think, well, I don't want to ask that question because it's a foolish question. There's no question that's a foolish question. All questions are important because this involves you. This involves what you're going to do with your life, and it's important to have these done. And I think, so what we've done with the program is create this opportunity for people to get at a reduced cost their documents completed.
So, the stat, I believe, is 7 out of 10 people do not have a will. And you're saying, well, that's probably horrible, but not only do you not have a will, you're missing 4 other documents, more or less. So let's kind of just skim across the 5 documents and why they're important.
Want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, you've already mentioned the basic will. I think most people are familiar with that. Okay. What John was talking about were these durable powers of attorney, and in many cases, people say, well, I need to get a power of attorney for financial because I have a relative that's ill, or I have a spouse that maybe is disabled, or a parent or something that's maybe has some health issues. Okay, and so lots of people would get that document, and then also it's become very clear and more important with healthcare that you have not just a financial, but you have a health power of attorney, which gives direction to the physician, to the nurses, to all the treating staff. What is it that you want for your medical treatment? Well, most people would say, okay, I've got those documents, and those are important. And as John mentioned, out of the clinics, it became evident people appreciated getting those documents. The health facilities appreciated that once those documents were prepared and finalized, that they get filed with the hospital, like St. Peter's or other places, or end-of-life registry. A lot of people would put those there. What became evident, though, is people assumed, well, I've got those documents, so if my spouse passes away or my relative passes away and I have this power of attorney, that allows me to do something, right? Well, no. Those documents were only effective as long as you were alive. And the whole purpose is, as I've already mentioned. Well, then it became evident, then people would say, well, okay, well, what then do I need? And we would say, that's where a basic will comes into play. Because upon your death, you want to provide, just like with the powers of attorney, some direction. And it doesn't have to be elaborate, but some direction. And so that's where the basic will. The other two documents of this kind of 5 that we are talking about is the Declaration of Homestead. And Montana provides that if you own a home, you can put a document on file at the courthouse to protect that home up to a certain dollar limit. The current limit is about $250,000 from creditors. So a lot of people will say, how do I protect the one maybe asset that I have, which is my home, from creditors' bills or other things? And so filing a declaration of homestead is a pretty easy thing to do. And most folks who own a home, whether it's in their name or their spouse's name jointly, it doesn't matter, is filing that to have that protection. So everybody should do that. Then the second thing is, people will say, well, okay, I know I own this home. Upon my death, I'd like this home to go to either my children or to other relatives and so forth. And so a different document is called a beneficiary deed. And so in combination with a basic will, a declaration of homestead, which protects the home then, and then if you say, hey, this is where I'd like my home to go upon my death, having a beneficiary deed. So those simple basic documents, sort of allows this life planning process. So you get the durable powers of attorney to begin with, but don't wait to get the basic wills, declaration of homestead, and beneficiary deed. And so that's what Montana Generational Justice, through offering this, when John talks about the document program, that's what we're talking about.
Right. I think one of the misconceptions people have is that this is for old people.
No.
As we sit at the table and look at our gray hair and whatnot. A couple of quick stories. I have someone in the family that their partner passed away when he's 34.
Right.
And then just last night I got a call from another friend whose wife passed away, in mid-50s or something.
Correct.
It's never too soon to get this done, especially if there's kids involved
It
too,
isn't,
right?
Yeah, and Bill, your point is absolutely, I'll let John elaborate a little more, but we found, so some of the clinics we mentioned that we did over this year to test, and one thing is the durable health power of attorney. We'll talk about that in a minute of how that's kind of getting standardized. But over these clinics, we did clinics at St. Peter's with a variety of different age groups. We did a clinic at Helena College for students, which a variety of age groups. We did a clinic out at Fort Harrison with the veterans out there, variety of age groups. And you're absolutely right. It didn't matter whether they were a student in their early 20s or even 19 on up, or whether it was somebody at St. Peter's, a variety of ages from the early 20s to more seniors, or veterans, obviously. And again, as we all are aware, veterans these days can be of any age. They're not necessarily seniors anymore, and the services that are provided to veterans as well, for having a healthcare power of attorney as an example, the veterans medical facility requires them to have that document. And so by helping them get that, rather than waiting to the time that they get some treatment and getting a form that perhaps doesn't quite measure up to what they were looking for. But the standardization of this document, so the ages, it doesn't matter. And that's what we've confirmed and over this space of the year acknowledged with a lot of folks for exactly that reason. Many thought it's just for seniors. Or the other is a lot of folks would look at it well, it's when end of life, you know, or I've got a terminal illness, and all of those are excellent reasons to get these documents. But planning way ahead for all the reasons we know. Life throws you curves all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the big thing now is you don't have to wait for one of your clinics. This whole modest means, all this stuff is call the phone number 422-3904 and schedule an appointment.
Yeah, and so what we take you through is we identify what documents you need, and we explain each of the documents. So it isn't, I'll kind of reverse a little bit. We explain all the documents, and then you decide what documents you may need. But we encourage, for starters, that you have the durable power of attorney for healthcare and financial. At all, and I think Chris has mentioned, at all ages. It doesn't matter because life is unpredictable.
Right.
So one of the things is that, let's say you're 20 years of age, and then your circumstances change, or you have someone that you picked as your agent. Now the agent is the primary person when you no longer have the capacity that will step in to kind of fulfill your wishes on the durable power of attorney for healthcare and for financial. And let's say that at some point, you don't trust this person anymore. They've done something, and I can tell you stories about more so with the financial, but it happens with the healthcare. People sometimes want to treat it like it's a conservatorship or a guardianship. It is not. The person at the document, if I have my durable power of attorney, then the person who has the control of that document is myself. I can decide who I want. You don't have to go through the court. I can decide who I want to be as my agent and as my alternate. The alternate does not have the authority to do anything unless there's a change in the agent or some circumstances changes it. For example, I was a power attorney, the agent for my mom and dad, and I was the alternate. My mom was my dad's agent, my dad was my mom's agent. When my dad passed, then I became the primary agent for my mom. And one of the things that I think we tell people is that it's your document. And so I don't step in until it's determined that I no longer have the capacity, or maybe in my mom's case, as she was declining in her health, she said, would you help with my paying my bills now? And she still was alert. She had the capacity, but because of her medical condition, she was getting tired. So I only stepped in at that time, and I think that's important to know. If by chance, and this is a true story, if someone ends up, this is your financial durable power attorney agent. And in this real story, this person that was the agent said, I'll go ahead, man, I'll take care of your bank statements for you. Now, if I say that, you're the person I'm an agent of, and I tell you that I'll take care of your bank statements, even though you have the capacity to do all yourself. You can say yes, but generally you would want to control that. Well, in this case, they did not. They took their bank statements, and out of a year of bank statements, one of them, the person didn't receive it, went to the principal, which is the person that the agent was overseeing, and she saw that there's money taken from her account. So she approaches the person and said, I went to the bank and I realized that you've been taking money out of my account without my permission. So the bottom line was, she said, I want to revoke you as my agent for my durable power attorney. Wrong way to do that, because what that agent did is go down and they cleaned out her account and left the state. She was left with nothing in her account. So the issue was that I tell people that you may like your agent forever, but every 5 years, review your durable power attorney. Maybe that person's circumstances has changed, that's the agent, and maybe you want someone else, because it's all based on trust. So review that, and it's called a revocation form, easy to complete. So in this case, I said you should have taken that new, if you want to appoint a different durable power attorney agent, then revoke the one you have, complete a new form, and take it down to all your, if it's a durable power attorney for healthcare, for all your medical facilities, your doctors and specialists. And if it's for financial, it's your financial institutions, your banks. and replace it. And I said, once we do your documents for you, and there's a change that you want, we don't charge you for that. Because we go back to your original non-notarized document that we keep with your permission on file, and we just modify the document and give it back to you. So it's an easy process. And I'll tell you right now, on the clinics, that every year that I do this, there's a cloud that just goes away from these people, because all of a sudden they realize they have done something important in their life that they thought was going to be overwhelming, stressful, and that's what they feel before they get it done. And we have comments, and on this form here that we have that it talks about, we give these to people. On the back it has comments on what people have thought about the documents, and on here it says, I felt I was intimidated, I was scared because it was legal. Once I completed the documents and I was provided a clear understanding of what I need to do, I understood when I left there, and we do an evaluation for people so that we know what they're feeling like when they finish those documents. So it's a great opportunity for people to get these documents done. And it's, to me, it's something that is, the cost, the reduced cost is minimal in comparison to what the impact of the document will do for you.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on to the show today. And I'm looking forward to kind of hearing how this all goes. And I'm glad we don't really have time to cover the standardization of the forms you've been working on, but I think that's a good coup that we could talk about in the future. And good luck on all these people that will start coming in to try lowering that 7 out of 10.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Bill.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for tuning in as always.